Hi guys, this is SDJR7F88 speaking with the third and final installment of how to create cobbles. In this episode, I'm going to show you how to paint them. Now, first of all, you need your base coat. Now, you can use basically what colour you want. If you want brown ones, use like a light sandy brown colour maybe. Or if you want darker grey ones, I would suggest using a darker colour. But I'm going to use Humbrol. Not sure if you can see this. 64 matte. Now, if you're probably wondering where I'm in my bedroom, as it's a bit too dark up in the loft to see it. So I thought it'd be maybe a bit lighter in here for the camera to see it. Although the camera is pretty good at picking up in the dark, but my eyes aren't, as we all are, unless you could have some sort of magic power and you can see in the dark. So anyway, obviously, first thing you need to do is open your paint. This is the same colours I used on Compton Martin, although this is a brand new pot, as I have obviously I ran out on the last one. Now, the odd thing about 64 paint is it's quite thin, so you have to give it quite a bit of a stir up. It's almost like almost comes out of the pot like a cream colour at first when I first mixed it up, but this one hasn't seemed to be too bad. Now, once giving it a little stir, I found the best way to achieve a good colour on the cobbles is actually scraping around for the gunk at the bottom. Once you find that quick gunk, you put a pile of it on a piece of paper down here. Oh, not a piece of paper, or a piece of card. This is part of an old cereal box that I used for my weathering, and I've ripped a bit off. So yeah, just basically just get a few blobs of it. Make sure not to get any on the carpet, as I'm trying not to, but I bet I probably will. Now, for this part, you'll need a sort of quite a hard bristle brush, like this one. I mean, it's soft but hard at the same time, sort of thing. So, bit of a stiff one, basically. And basically, what you just do is obviously start painting the cobbles. Now, what I recommend doing is just brushing it on lightly. Now, remember, you do not need to go in between all the cracks on this, as the wash will do that. You can make it so it goes a bit whiter, sort of thing, in certain places. Sorry if I zoom in on this little patch I'm doing. There we go. You can see there's already a bit of tone in there where I've left bits, obviously done things a bit darker in certain places. This will provide a varying effect, as you find with real cobbles, because you find some are darker, some are lighter. So just brush it on there, random even places. Like I said, don't worry if you there are bits that are in between the cobbles that are white, or there's bits that have been filled in with the paint. As the wash, I showed you briefly in one of my Compton Martin updates, I think it was the last one I did, because obviously I've been busy on this layout sort of thing. I showed you a little pot of wash, and that will be seen in a few moments when this is finished. But basically just go over it, brush it around, try not to get too thick like I have there. It's better thinner. Oh, and also don't worry if you've got any on the rails. Damn it, I forgot something quite crucial. Hold on a minute, I have it to reach though. If you get any on the rails, it is best to get a bit of tissue, obviously. Kitchen cloth, whatever you like to call it, or even old cloth itself, and rub it off the rails, sort of thing. Oops, I wasn't looking, was I? But yeah, I got a bit on the rail head there. Go on, there we go. But yeah, make sure you get it off, sort of thing, as you don't want to ruin the conductivity of the trains. I am going to thoroughly clean the track down, as I haven't ran the train since I have actually created the cobbles, which may be a bit bad, but we'll have to find out. Now, I've got to quite a crucial part of this thing. Oops, sorry, not the camera. As you can see, along the edge of the rails, I've got to mention this. If you see along beside the rails, you've got the mortar effect, where you can't cobble up too close to the rails. So what I do for this is to get that sort of like light mortar effect, as you can just see there. You see it's much lighter than the cobbles. What I have done is sorry, just cover up that little section. That looks better. What you got to do is just get a tiny bit on your brush. Obviously that's off camera. Is this on camera? Yeah. You brush it on, but brush it, really along. Try and get it as far as possible along, sort of thing. You try to get the most out of it. Obviously, I'm going to need a bit more. I didn't put enough on there, but once you get some on there, rub it as far as you possibly can without it going too white. Better zoom out a bit. So yeah, dab a bit more on there. Yeah, that's better. Try to get as far as possible with it, and you'll find that it goes a bit thinner than the stuff on the cobbles, and it gives it a lighter grey effect. You see it's starting to... Oh, it's all offset. Sorry, I can't see what the camera's doing. I'm too busy concentrating actually trying to get it done, sort of thing. But you can see there, offset. You can just see... well, you can see it now. I've sort of ran out there. It's got too thin. But basically, just once you've done it, go over it again. Make sure you spread it all out, sort of thing. So it gives it that nice sort of light effect. And obviously then we'll add a bit of wash over the top to make it look like the soot from and dirt from the engines. And then obviously when you've done it, get a bit of tissue. I'm sorry if my elbow's in the way, which it was. I'll try to do it correctly this time. Get a bit of tissue and rub it on the railhead. And make sure that's clean. Now, another bit we have to do is obviously the centre of the rails. I'm just going to do this little section and show you all the little techniques without having any stop bits, unless it doesn't focus, which is going to do there. Anyway, obviously, another crucial bit of the track. Oh, some of the paint ain't come off there. Silly me. Oh, well, that'll be rubbed off with a track rubber. That's a bit of glue from the previous time. Right, now, the centre of the rails. Obviously, same technique with the cobbles. But there's one thing you probably noticed, it's actually the inside of the bit which goes, well, basically the bit of the cobbles that goes in between the rail. Now, obviously, it'd be good to paint that. Try get a bit of on there, but it doesn't matter because a wash will run down there. But I tend to do it because I found that it went a bit thin. Now, remember, try not to get hardly any paint on the inside of the rail, as that will be hard to get off for obvious reasons. Because you cannot fit a track rubber in there. So when you do a bit, get a bit of tissue and then put your nail to it and rub it along on the inside, and hopefully you'll get the sorry, ain't gonna focus, is it? No, but you'll get the gunk out, sort of thing, because obviously it's gonna be hard to get it out there when it's dried. And yeah, basically that's basically it for painting it. I'll pause the camera here and I will get on with the long road of trying to paint the whole lot. So here we go. Right, as you can see, I've finally covered the whole area. It's taken me about 2, maybe even 3, no, about hour and a half, 2 hours to do all this. It was quite tiring, as it is getting late now in the evening when I've recorded this section anyway. But it looks quite rough, but that's what you want. You want quite a bit of varying tone in there, like in real cobbles. And the wash will sort it all out and make it look much better, sort of thing. You're much more realistic. But as you can see, I've gone quite darker in between the rails, so sorry about the bug you could probably see wandering about there. But it does dry quick, but I would leave it a day to make sure it's thoroughly dry. But you can see I've gone quite dark along the front edge. Don't worry about that like spill on the bottom there, because that's going to be covered up by that wall where it's gone quite thick and dark. But yeah, basically you can see like these patches here are a bit darker along here, which is where obviously the cobbles would have seen more wear and more dirt, as is the same at the back where obviously the warehouses are too, and of course in between the rails. But the wash will definitely add a lot more tone to there, and that will be the next part, which will be well, I'll start it maybe tomorrow or the day after, but for you it'll be instantly right now. Right guys, as you can see, we are now back up in the loft. It has been 1 day since I've added the Humbrol paint, 24 hours, and it is pretty much dry. I have spilt some on the rails, but that's nothing that a bit of a elbow grease with a with a track rubber, and for the stubborn bits, a bit of a track cleaning fluid won't sort out at the end. I'll do that after I've added the wash, which is the bit we're going to do now. Hopefully it will dull down some of these parts, because some of the paint magically, although it's a matte paint, has gone gloss. Well, not gloss, but it's a bit shiny. Satin effect, or whatever it is. So, I'm going to hopefully the wash will dull this down, and we'll start in this area. Now, this is the wash I mentioned. Pro Modeler, weathering wash, brown mud. as you see, I've got it from Antics. Got to give it a good shake. And the brush you will need is one of these. It's my weathering brush. Much softer than the other brush, as you can see. Smaller and softer, but at the same time not too soft. You know, just enough elasticity. I say 50-50. 50 soft and 50 elasticity. More in the region of soft, but there you can see it's quite a nice brush. Then obviously you got to really shake up this wash because it's quite. All the thickness goes to the bottom, sort of thing, and it goes on quite thin. Anyway, zoom in on a section. I would recommend about there, maybe a bit more. There we go. Right, once you've shook it up the wash, it's just a matter of just dipping the brush in the pot and getting to work. As you can see, it goes on a bit weird at first, and what you just do is you just brush it all over the cobbles. Just go all over. It looks a bit weird to start off with, but it actually does help. What it's doing is, as well as working in between all the cracks where most of the wash goes, it's also adding a very fine layer to the top of the cobbles. You're dulling them down a bit, making them brown, which is precisely what happened on Compton Martin, which I was very pleased with the results. Now, you can vary it. I'm sorry if my head's in the way, which is not, hopefully. You can vary the results by simply adding more or less wash in certain areas, or rubbing more off, if you know what I mean. You can see I'm spreading it about quite, I'm spreading it out quite well here, sort of thing. But the places I'm gonna put more wash is obviously along the edges of the water, as you can see here. As obviously there'll be like waves on really stormy days would have come up over the wall and onto the cobble, sort of thing, and left dirt. Where to? Looking the wrong area. Bit there. So I'm gonna obviously recreate that. Also, where engines have been sat, I'm gonna put more there. I may even add some oil stains if I had time. But there, you can see I've added made it quite thick around that area. Obviously, I'm gonna brush it out a bit because I don't want it to be that thick. But yeah, that's what we basically do. Spread out a bit more. I'll just quickly spread out this. But you can see how it's sort of spreading out now. You can see it's got a bit thicker there anyway. That's better. That's a better way to do it. But it shouldn't dry that like blobby sort of thing. It just needs a bit of a mix sort of thing. But the next bit I'll show you is obviously how to do the mortar alongside the rails. That's quite simple. Just get a bit on the end of the brush and just streak it along the side. Again, don't worry about the rails, you clean those at the end. But that yeah. Basically that will add to the effect. Obviously any bits that got the cobbles, you spread them out like you would normally. It's got a bit blobby, a bit weird, but anyway, I'll sort that out. Okay, next time that after this pause, it will be the obviously the whole layout will hopefully be covered. So see you in a bit then. Right, it's been a day since I've done the wash now. Basically, it only takes a couple of minutes to dry, maybe a couple of hours. But I thought I'd leave it a day just to make sure it's soaked in. One thing I did forget to mention is if you go on too thick in certain areas, you put too much in one place, get a cloth, a bit of tissue, just dab it off, and that way you could just start again, sort of thing. But yeah, once you've done the wash and all that means, it's basically complete and you've got the finished result of the cobbles. Although there is one more thing you have to do, and that is another test. And basically, when I did the grey, I obviously didn't get all the grey paint off the rails, so I went over it with a good old track rubber and basically really rubbed it down, and then of course hoovered it up because there was a lot of mess. I mean, literally all the fibres, well not fibres, but bits of little bits of dust from the rubber, and of course all the paint that was on the rails, all scrunched up, sort of thing. So I hoovered all that up, and then it's give it a second test, and here we go with flash. And look at that. There we go. Back again. I'm still using the old cheap Hornby controller, but I really do need to get a better single controller to run Compton Key and of course Compton Martin. Let's try it the other way. Now, I've got a funny feeling she'll stop here, as I did test it just before filming. Oh, she worked. But I've got a funny feeling there's a bit of paint down in there that needs a bit of cleaning. But yeah, just to make sure she could go over at a bit of a slower speed sort of thing. But she likes going over there in reverse, but not necessarily in forwards. Or is it going to be the other way around this time? Oh no, she worked perfectly again. But there we are. That's my tutorial on how to do Chris Devard's cobbles technique. And as you can see, hopefully I'll be able to get her ready for the exhibition on Saturday. Just a quick thing I'll quickly show you. Oh well, I can't show you from there if I lift the tripod up. I've added the paint for the water. But I've still got to add the realistic water effects. But yeah, it's all starting to come together now. So anyway, this has been SDJR7F88 speaking, and thanks for watching.